Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I am, of course, your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. And above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. I am joined today by Mr. Jim Bricker. How's it going, Jim?
Hello, Armando. I'm doing great. Thank you. How about for you? How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Here in Edmonton, it is 14 degrees Celsius, overcast, very cold. Snow is on the way, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a happy camper. Okay.
Well, it's 94 here in Northern California, so somewhere in the middle, people are happier than we are.
Yes, yes, I understand that. I understand that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be having a film discussion today. And the topic at hand is Talking Heads and their movie Stop Making Sense. Okay. Jim has the 40th anniversary edition that you see cropping up in front of him as he fades in and out. And I am myself here, as I bring this up, have the deluxe edition, double CD, Blu-ray audio edition of Stop Making Sense. Now, there's a lot of information to go through with this movie, ladies and gentlemen, and I will go through that with you right now. Stop Making Sense was directed by Jonathan Demme. It was shot over 4 nights at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood in December of 1983. And this release, the film, has various release dates. It was originally released on April 24th, 1984 for the San Francisco International Film Festival. Also released on October 19th, sorry, 1984 in the US. It was again released at the Toronto International Film Festival on September 11th of 2023, and it was released to the general public on September 29th, 2023. Okay, now saying all that, for me, as a as a newbie to Talking Heads, I know some of their music. My first exposure to Talking Heads was Take Me to the River when I was about 12. And I've known of songs like, Burning Down the House, uh, songs like that, but I have not really delved into the catalog as a whole. That's why we have Mr. Jim Bricker here. He is a major fan of this movie in particular, and we
Yes.
are going to let him have the virtual mic for a few minutes
Okay.
to talk about his experience with this film.
Sure. So the first stop in talking about the film is actually talking about the tour that it came from. So this was based on the tour for their album at the time, which was Speaking in Tongues. Now, this came about, the tour came to my area in Northern California in the late summer of 1983. It played the UC Berkeley Greek Theater, and I remember wanting to go to see the show. I was vaguely interested in it, and but with a combination of college just starting, having moved to the dorms, all stuff, there was just no way that I was going to make that happen. Just too many logistical problems to solve that. Uh, Cut to one of the very first days of classes being held, and I was in the journalism classroom, and about, half a dozen or more of the people in the class had gone to see the Talking Heads the night prior at the Berkeley Greek Theater, and they came back just exuberant about that was the greatest concert that they had ever seen. And they were just going on and on and on and on. And I'm like, dang it, sounded like something I could have attended. And I should have. It would have sounded pretty great. So I just kind of lived with the lumps there until about April, which would have been about 8 months or so later, when I heard that there was going to be the film debuting at the San Francisco Film Festival. So San Francisco, just right up the road on 101. And then the reviews started coming out of that saying this is the greatest concert film that's ever been. Forget The Last Waltz, forget, the Neil Young movie. This is where it's at, baby. And I'm like, all right, gotta
Yeah,
see it. And
yeah.
then
just
And then
just to
October, oh, go ahead.
sorry, just to interject, this from what I've read, this movie has been listed as the greatest concert film of all time.
Yep.
I'm not sure I totally agree with that, but I digress.
No, that's
Continue.
fair. It's been
Continue.
selected for preservation in the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress.
That's right.
So that's saying something. But I remember going to see this in October of '84 when it was released. A buddy of mine went up to the Grand Lake Theater in Oakland, which is this big, old, gigantic movie house, from like when they were showing movies in the 30s, and there was Wurlitzer organs, and I mean this was a big, huge, old, ornate theater, and
Mhm.
they showed this there, and I tell you what, the people were jamming the aisles, just dancing. It was it was just such a fun, amazing movie, and it
Mhm.
really just made me kick myself even more for missing the actual show that was in Berkeley. And I was looking at the set list from Berkeley, just in prep for this, and except for about 4 or 5 songs that are omitted from the film version, it's a fairly good representation of what they
Mhm.
played at Berkeley that night. I mean, in the first half of the set, there's like one song swap, and there's like 3 other songs that they did, and
Mhm.
then in set two, there's an additional song that they did that didn't make the film.
Okay.
So
We're going to get into that too.
absolutely, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
save we'll save those details for later.
Yes. Yes. Um, but to continue, I'll will list off who, played with the band for these shows, for these four shows at the Pantages Theater. You have David Byrne on lead vocals and guitar, Tina Weymouth on bass, keyboards, uh, various instruments, lead vocals on one track. You have Chris Franz on drums, vocals for one track, and well, for two songs, sorry. Continuing along, you have Jerry Harrison on guitar, keyboards, and backing vocals. You have Steve Scales on percussion, backing vocals. Um, Lynn, Lynn Mabry on backing vocals. Uh, Edna Holt on backing vocals. Alex Weir on guitars and backing vocals, and Bernie Worrell on keyboards.
Yeah,
So, in addition to the core group, you have quite a few backup musicians to sort of augment the sound and you know, present the concert, present the music to its full potential, right?
yeah, well
Um,
said.
Now, there there was a bit of in terms of the release of the album, the original release. The original release had 9 tracks on the album. That is not the full show, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it is not. And boy, was I one unhappy customer when I went to pick that up at Tower Records that day. I'm like, what? It's only 9 songs. Are you kidding me? I mean,
Yes.
it's a great package because when they released it, it came with like a slip book, if you will, kind of on the exterior of it that was not 12 by 12, but it was like 12 by 8 or so.
Hmm.
And it was 24 pages of just bits about the film, photos, still frames, slide images, sketches from David Byrne's concepts, things like that.
Yes. This version that I have in my pudgy little fingers here does contain the booklet inside with pictures from the movie. If I open this up, ladies and gentlemen, the CDs are going to fall out, and I don't want that to happen. Not on video. Thank you very much. Now, getting back to the fact that the original album had only 9 songs. What the
Yep.
hell were you thinking? Number one. Number two, I have gone on record as saying if it's a full show, if there are songs that are in the set list and that are omitted, from the album, why? Why would you do that?
Right.
Like it to me, it doesn't make any sense. There were double live albums released in 1984, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
The only thing that I could think of about, I'll call it the marketing decision behind that, was that they didn't want to squash attendance of people uh, going to the film, as you know, in part of it. And then the second part might have been, well, Talking Heads released a double live album not too many years before this. So I think it was in 81 or 82. The name of this band is Talking Heads. So
Okay,
maybe
okay, yeah.
they were afraid of saturation.
Okay, you see, I did not know that. You see, I'm a newbie. Again, we're talking heads, so
Happy to help you.
I'm happy that you're helping. Um, okay, so you saw the movie
Saw the movie,
and
bought the soundtrack, bought the
your
singles.
experience with it.
Yeah, there were a couple of singles that they put out which had additional songs that were in the film but not on the soundtrack. So it's like I was beginning to fill in the collection there.
Mhm.
The film, I'm sorry, we were talking over one another. Were you just asking what my experience was with the film?
Well, yeah, what was your first takeaway from the movie when you saw it?
Oh, I thought it was unbelievable. I thought it was amazing. Like I said, I was kicking myself not having attended the concert, but the energy was, it was palpable.
Yeah.
It was like you were seeing the show
Yeah.
with the other couple hundred people that were in the theater. It was that kinetic. It was that energetic. It was really something to experience.
Okay.
Um, just the way that everything starts off the with the movie. I mean, if people haven't seen it, it's really an experience. The whole thing starts off with a may I? May I just go into it?
Please do. I was going to do that, but please do. I don't want to talk too much.
The whole thing starts off with a completely empty stage, and I mean a completely empty stage. You see the
Yeah.
back wings, you see all the ropes and different things back in the theater. It's as if nothing is going to happen.
Hmm.
It's like
Hmm.
I'm here on the wrong night.
Hmm.
David Byrne starts walking off, walking out on. He's got his acoustic guitar, he's got a boom box. He sets it down and says, hi, I got a tape I want to play. You know, Plays the tape, which is just, a beatbox coming from the soundboard. And the whole thing starts off with just him doing a solo rendition of Psycho Killer.
Hmm.
For each song that goes on, an additional member of the band comes out. For the second song, Heaven, Tina joins on the bass. So it's David and Tina. The third song, Thank You for Sending Me. Oh, and while they're doing their song, a drum riser gets pushed out onto the stage
Yes,
behind them.
that's what I like about the setup of this movie is that as it goes on from the start, it's the pieces of the puzzle are slowly being put into place,
Right.
and you slowly see them come on stage as a full band.
Yes,
Okay, I'll shut up.
exactly.
I'll shut up. Keep going.
No, you're definitely
Yeah,
on the right track. So
yeah,
the drum riser gets, pushed out, and then, Chris frowns, bounds onto the stage, and then he joins them for the third song. And while that's going on, guitar techs come out and start setting up pedal boards and stuff for the next guy to come out, who's Jerry Harrison. And
yes,
so by the time you got the fourth song, you've got, the four core members, and then other stuff starts coming in off the sides. Percussion, keyboard stands, more guitar gear. I mean, to the time you get to like the sixth song in the film, "Burning Down the House," you've got the full complement of the band out there, and you've gone from a completely empty stage to just one big funkathon. It is
yeah.
just unbelievable how much energy those guys can put out.
I'm watching this son of a bitch, and I'm like, it is funky.
Yeah.
I mean, funk, like unbelievable.
Oh
Heavy
yeah.
bass, very rhythmic. Like you can't help but just sit there and bop your head and like, okay, I can get into this. This is good. This
Oh, it's
is,
undeniable. Yeah.
yeah, I can sink my teeth into this kind of thing, metaphorically speaking, of course. But
Yeah.
just to, my God, yeah, I mean,
And as it
Oh,
goes on, I
geez.
mean, and throughout the whole thing, David Byrne is a very energetic performer. He's not just singing, he's dancing, he's moving. I mean, in Life During Wartime, he's doing laps around the stage. There's a buddy of mine who saw the same tour prior to it coming to Berkeley. He was a student in at Arizona State, and so he saw it in August in Phoenix, Arizona, when it was like 115.
Hmm.
They were doing the same stuff, running around, I mean, dancing, just energetic as all get out. And it's 115 out there, but they're still giving it all.
Yeah,
And you're right, it is really funky beyond belief. By the time they get through with act one, which is Life During Wartime, you're just like, I can't believe where this is going to go next.
yeah,
And they come out after the intermission and things start building up again and again and again, and it's you're I'm exhausted having watched the whole thing. Can't
yeah,
imagine what the people were like performing it.
yeah. No, no, definitely. And I mean, other songs of note for me are Swamp. Uh,
Yep.
even as a kid, I remember hearing this on FM radio on 104.5 Chum FM in Toronto. Shameless plug, but that was back when Chum FM actually played new wave and rock music, the good old days. And
Hey.
I didn't even know the name of the song. I just remember the
Oh,
choruses
sure.
to the song, right? And then they go into what a day that was. It's like the energy that that
Hmm.
that is consistent throughout this movie is unbelievable. They don't waver.
Yeah.
They don't falter. They're not phoning it in. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No, they're not. And the way that they've set up the stage to kind of go with all these songs, with the different lighting that's happening for every different song. I mean, this is not, Pink Floyd era, very lights and lasers and things like that.
no.
It's theater craft.
It
It's using very large lights with angles and shadows, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I was just gonna interject something. And again, forgive my stubby fingers. But for me, I've told you this before. I liken this to what Laurie Anderson was doing. Very
Sure.
performance oriented structure,
Yeah.
you know, with the lights coming like the handheld spotlights and
Right.
the crew coming in and setting up the stage and the rig and stuff and the platform. And I do if I'm not mistaken, at one point you see them performing, and I think it's for the track Girlfriend is Better. And the camera guy, one of the camera guys, is on stage
Yeah.
holding the camera, filming them, right? So it's like in the age of concert movies, in terms of performance pieces, this is
Hmm.
very early on, right? This is not blocked just so to perfection. This is this is us, warts and all. We've got, cameramen on stage with us, uh,
Hmm.
other crew members holding up, you know, spotlights and stuff, shining the spotlight on us. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, moving all around, kind of just, wavering with different angles and going up and down and, again, creating all this fantastic imagery in the backdrop.
Yeah, and this is them saying, you know what, we're not. This is not professionally shot per se. I mean, it is, but in terms of the blocking, like not a lot of blocking going on here in terms of the camera angles and stuff.
Well, yeah, yeah.
But we all want you to have a good time with what we're presenting to you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well,
And
and that was Jonathan Demme's whole inspiration. I mean, he and a buddy of his went to go see Talking Heads in L.A., and they were just floored. It's like, this is a film. They were sitting there in a concert hall and they were watching this, and they're like, we're this is actually a film.
mhm.
And they got in touch with Talking Heads management and sat down with them and said, guys, we want to film this. We think this is, it's got the makings of, maybe one of the greatest concert films ever. because it's so complete in and of itself. You know, uh, it's, I think it's stretching to say that it has a story and a logic and, like, a full arc of what you would get in terms of beginning, middle, end, denouement, and all that kind of stuff.
I
But,
think
in a sense, it's kind of there.
I think the logic to it is there is no logic.
Well, could be. I mean, I think there had to be some logic around it, just given the fact of how it was presented. You start off from nothing and then you end up with everything. And for people who don't have a grasp of what I'm talking about, think about the Rush 40 tour when they
Mhm.
started off with everything.
Yeah,
And by the
and
end
then
of the
they
show, they
scaled
took
down.
everything away.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, they took the Talking Heads idea and did it in reverse.
I understand what you're saying. What I was
Hmm.
trying to get at was there were concert films that were done in the 80s that, well, most notably Prince was Sign of the Times, where
Hmm.
it was basically a concert movie,
Right.
um, but with a very loose storyline to it,
Yeah.
right? This, when I meant was when I said the logic is there is no logic. What they're doing is they're just performing for you, but they're doing it in a way
Mhm.
that is very much performance art,
In a
akin
way, yeah.
akin
Yeah.
to with what Laurie Anderson was doing at the time, that she would do a year later, right?
Yeah. Right. With Home of the
Um,
Brave.
yeah, I just when I see this, I cannot help but think of the comparison to Laurie Anderson. I don't know
Hmm.
why, but it's stuck in my feeble little brain. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but that's what I think about when I see this movie. I think it's fantastic. I
Yeah.
think it's a fantastic representation of the band. I think that, I've learned to respect the band a lot more from watching this film.
Hmm.
Having said that, there's a flip side to the other side of the coin. The flip side of the coin is this, is that the track listing. Shall we tackle the track listing briefly?
Which track listing would you like to talk about?
There's the crux. There you go.
Yes. Don't get
There's
me
the rub.
started on the track listing.
There's the rub, you know,
Yep.
in terms of, okay, the original release, as I said, 9 tracks, pitiful, pitiful in
Pretty
terms of
much.
being able to do, present a full, representation of Talking Heads live in concert all in 1983. Okay.
Yep.
This reissued version, the double disc, has 19 songs
Yep.
together. When you watch the Blu-ray, a friend of mine loaned me a copy of the Blu-ray because I was not about to buy a copy of this on eBay for 150 bucks or $85 on Amazon.ca through a secondary seller. No, wasn't going to do it. So I'm watching this and I have this with me, right? And I'm looking at it. I'm following the track listing as I'm watching the video, the Blu-ray, and there's a song missing. It goes from Found a Job to Cities, skipping Slippery People, right? In my version of it. Then on CD2, when it on the later part of the show, it goes from Once in a Lifetime, jumps over Big Business and Isombra to Genius of Love, Tom Tom Club,
Yep.
where David Byrne leaves the stage and leaves, you know, the audience in the hands of Tina Weymouth and Chris Frantz, and they do the one track Genius of Love. And then, you know, uh, David Byrne comes back to finish off the show. Now,
Yep.
in your opinion, was this not a bonehead move, or was this?
Well, let's discuss. So, um, the when it was performed at the Pantages, they they did, we'll call it 19 songs with Big Business and Izimbra, even though they're munched together. They count it as
Okay.
two and all those other track listings. So we'll call it 19.
Okay.
When the original film came out in 1984, it only had 16. So they omitted Cities, which is where Alex Weir comes out on guitar, and the combo of Big Business and Izimbra.
December.
Now, that was done, even though they filmed it and they edited it and they had it all together. David Byrne's thought was that those songs, Cities and Big Business Izimbra, did not advance the story the way the other songs did. So that's David Byrne talking. When I saw this in the theater, that was what I got was a 16 song version. Okay, good for me. I was happy with that. When this sucker came out on VHS way back in the day, and I'm thinking this is like 85, 86, it
Yes.
had the it had the full 19 songs on it. So they left in Cities, Big Business, Izimbra. And
December.
I tell you what, I don't get where David was coming from. Maybe that's just little old non-artistic me with a creative arts degree, don't you know? But I don't get it. I don't get what he didn't see about it. And then the real vexing thing about this is that as it has been released over time on DVD and Blu-ray up until recently, it was always the 16 song version with, if they had it, the other tracks sort of added in as bonuses, but they were never uh, prettied up for the ball for modern technology like the other songs had been.
Yeah, you can tell that they're done, that it's shot in 35 millimeter film. Like it's not cleaned up in terms of,
Right,
crystal clear from the version I saw that my friend
right,
lent me, that
yeah,
it's crystal clear in terms of its, in terms of the film, right? Like you
right.
can see little glitches here and there, but minor.
And then the other thing that's irritating about it, and this is very irritating to me, is that every time it came out on other versions, DVD, CD versions like you've got there, Blu-ray, they mess with the mix. There's things that are in the original. I feel like the old man, yelling, "People get off of my lawn." You know, there's a part in "Girlfriend Is Better" where David Byrne drops the mic. In the original version, you hear that thud. You don't hear that on subsequent versions. They take that out. There's different vocal lines that
You
are
mean when the mic
excised.
when the mic goes down on the stand
Yeah, when he
and
when he
he's
went he
leaning and
goes he
he's,
goes to put the mic back on the stand
oh, okay,
and
okay, that's
before he
something else.
starts dancing again and it drops. You hear the
Okay,
but
okay.
but they edit that out.
Okay, no,
There's
I'm
a
thinking of another song. Go on. Okay, go on.
Yeah, and there's other little niggly parts in there like in the original film when they take their break for intermission, you know, David says, "Does anybody have any questions?" And then, but on every other version for the different films and DVD and audio releases and whatnot, he says, "We're going to take a short break. Be right back." So they're editing in different parts from the four different performances to get whatever mix that they want. Now, for me, you know, the guy who saw it in the theater, the original release, the dude who bought the VHS tape, I I want it all. I'm kind of greedy when it comes to this, to this little package. And this is the beast that finally gets it right.
Yeah,
Not only is the Blu-ray have the complete film, all digitized and glorious and a spectacle to watch with the clarity and the sound and whatnot. Um, they give you the option of also viewing it with Big Business and Cities and Izimbra, but then they also, in the bonus features, have the original laser disc release, which was the same as the VHS.
Mm.
and they've sampled it, upscaled it, whatever they need to do to make it more palatable, for modern viewing and modern screens and whatnot. And so with this release that I've shown, this is the one that has the most up-to-date, most audiophile, mind-blowing version, and it's got the purity of the original with the original stage banter, the original lines of
Yeah.
dialogue, the song notes, the mic drops, and all these other things that just make it glorious. I mean, there's even interjections like in Burning Down the House, you can hear Steve Scales or Alex Weir just go, yeah. I mean, just like in the
Yeah.
background, just
Like getting,
fully energetic,
yeah, trying to
but
get the audience involved. Yeah. Yeah.
and
No,
they're
I
and
hear
they're
you.
just totally into it themselves.
They're going ballistic.
And
Yeah.
they are. And again, those little things are edited out. And again, the purist in me, who not only was I living with the VHS version, but I was able to record the audio off the VHS to a cassette. And so like all through college, I had the audio of Stop Making Sense whenever I wanted it.
Oh, you went there. Holy
I
gee.
went I went there. And
Oh
so
my God. Okay.
it is
Yeah.
part of it is hardwired into my being at this point. So to me, that hardwired version is the proper and correct
Yeah.
Stop Making Sense, and everything else is just kind of a pale shadow.
I completely get that. Just an editorial note on my part. I did make a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. I was reading off the notes from the DVD Blu-ray version. The track cities is not included on the video version. It's included in the uh, CD version, the double disc version. So that's my error. And also, Big Business in Eisenbach is also included on the CD version on CD too. So you get the full concert, all 19 tracks
Yep.
in this collection. No, just getting back to what you're saying, I completely get what you're saying about wanting the entire performance of,
Right.
upset performance. I mean, the only way I can explain it for me is when Queen did their first concert film in 1984 called "We Will Rock You," where they performed at the at the stadium in Montreal, Stadium Olympique in Montreal, um, in 1981. And there's been many versions of this movie released. The original version was only an hour long on VHS.
Hmm.
Queen for an hour in concert. That is sacrilege. Okay. It doesn't exist. It's not even, it should be, that video should be just banned completely. There was a 90-minute version of this concert of Queen released again. The full concert and everything is in there. Amazing. So that's what I wanted. I wanted the full performance. And again, I'm a big proponent for wanting and demanding a full performance. I don't care how long it is. If you have to do it on 3 discs, go for it. Just give me what you've got. I want to see
Right.
everything. So yeah, I mean, I completely get what you're saying with regards to this movie. This movie for me is a fantastic piece of art. It is art. It is not just a concert, it is art. Okay. I will say there is one caveat I'll put in there.
Please.
There, there is one song that for me is a no-go. Genius of Love.
Okay. All right. So
Right?
my guess, my guess is that Genius of Love is in there because it's form follows function. They needed to functionally have David Byrne take a break so he could recollect himself and get himself into the big suit.
That's
That to
exactly why
me,
they did it. That's
that's
exactly why they
probably
did it.
why it's there.
But they could have taken out that performance and put in either cities or big business in Izimbra.
Yeah. But I have to say, being a red-blooded American guy, Seeing Tina Weymouth dance and play that bass and sing, I'm sold. Sorry,
That's
I'm only
fine.
human.
But what gets me with that version of that song is Chris Frantz. He's annoying.
Oh, all his exclamations from the
Yes,
drum stool.
yes, from the riser. Trying to get the audience into it. It's like, we're just
Hmm.
shut up already. You've got three
Hmm.
beautiful female singers and bass player up front, shaking what they got, doing what they're doing, performing really well, and very
Yep.
capable. And you got the guy on the drums yelling, James Brown, James Brown. It's like, you know what? Shut up, let them perform. You're keeping the beat, you're keeping everything in time, you're doing your
Yep.
job. Do
The
I
guy
want
is
to
a
hear,
human drum machine.
yeah. Do I want to hear you exclaiming things and outbursts and getting the audience involved? By this point, the audience is involved, even though you don't see them very much. And that's another thing. We'll get to that in a sec. But do I
Yep.
really need to hear him, come on, everyone, let get up, James, but like, shut up already. It's just, for me, it's a
Well, in
detractor. It's a
uh,
detractor.
I get how it could be a detractor. However, in the defense,
Go on.
um, the original version of the track does have those exclamations of,
Yeah, yeah,
James Brown.
yeah. But that's
I mean, it's
recording it. Yeah.
yeah,
That's what
but so there's precedent for that. And then plus I will go on record to say the VHS version and the original film release version, his exclamations are original. They're different and they work better than the crappy little edits that they've thrown in there over time. And having listened to the streaming version of, I think the two discs that you've got there, yeah, they use the updated edited versions, and it's like, oh, it's just wrong. I tell you.
I don't know. I don't know.
I get, I understand though. I understand what you're coming from. Would I have preferred to have, you know, the Big Business and Izimbra left in the film as opposed to Genius of Love? Probably, but I like Genius of Love. It's pretty fun. I don't think I'd sit through a whole Tom Tom Club concert, but
There you go.
that
Yes,
song's pretty dang funky.
yes. I mean, no, it's it's funky as all get out. It leaves a stain on you. It's that funky, but at the same time,
Hey.
it's like, mm, like, uh,
But let's talk about the audience for a sec, because I know that you wanted to go there. So
there's a
one of
couple
the
of a couple of points I want to raise, but go ahead about the
okay,
audience.
so let me raise one of them in advance, just
Sure.
because I'm that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Um,
Yes,
one
you
of the
are.
different things one of the different things about this film is that you don't have the sweeping vistas of the theater
Yes,
with the crowd going bananas and reacting to things. In fact, up until the very last song,
yes,
the only times that you really see the audience are in like an establishing shot during Psycho Killer when David's on the stage solo and you're
yes.
like way up in the corner of the theater and you see him, this little tiny guy on this big barren stage, and you see the crowd beneath,
Or
so
yeah,
there's that, or you're looking over everyone's heads like an establishing shot of the entire stage,
yeah.
and you
But there's
see heads, people, dancing and whatnot.
And there's also a couple of pan shots from behind, like from the point of view of David Byrne looking at the audience. There's a couple of pan shots of the
Yes.
camera going
Yeah.
across, and you see the audience. You
Right.
don't see them all the time, and that's fine. I mean, the
Hmm.
the purpose of this film is to focus on the band and
Yes.
what they're presenting to you, right?
Focus on the performers. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I wanted to bring this point to you. What do you think about the band members breaking the fourth wall, into the camera at various times?
I think that's fine. I think that's just part of the wacky personality. I mean, it's obviously you've got Steve Scales and Bernie Worrell are the guys who do that mostly, but there's times where, like, during Girlfriend is Better, where, David Byrne is sticking the microphone out to the
Into the
cameraman. So he
cameraman. Yeah.
sings Stop Making Sense, and Byrne is like, staring right at him in
Yeah.
his way. I
Yeah.
mean, it works within the context because again, to me, it's showing the band in action, in flight. They're reacting to their environment. They're engaged with what's going on. It's,
Yeah. No. And
part of the performance, if you will.
yeah, no, no, no. And yeah, I get what you're saying. And just to be clear, for you and to everyone watching, I mean, who you are, um, it's not a criticism. It's just an observation, like on my part. I mean,
Mhm.
I noticed that each band member, even the backup singers and and the backup musicians, the supporting musicians, all break the fourth wall. They all look at the cameraman and they all like smile or stick out their tongue or which means
Yeah,
to me, it means they're not taking themselves too seriously. Do you know what I
right.
mean? Um,
Yeah, and there's even another little. They don't take themselves too seriously, which I love. During um, I Zimber at the end of it, Bernie Worrell quotes Little Drummer Boy in his ending keyboard solo. And that lets you know, oh, if you can pick it out, you're like, okay, that's pretty funny. And it kind of gives you a reminder of when they filmed this. It was,
yes,
Christmas time, 1983.
yes, yes.
So there's, fun little cues like that throughout the movie that, keep nerds like me happy.
I hear you. I hear you. Oh, I understand that. Um, one quick question. I believe it was Ken that said on another episode that we did that there was a point in time where the dynamics of the band shifted in that it sort of turned into David Byrne being the lead and the rest being his backup band. Do
Hmm.
you believe or do you think that at this point in time, in December of 1983, with Speaking in Tongues being out, that they were still considered a cohesive unit under the name of Talking Heads? Or was the
I
dynamic starting to shift?
uh I think it's hard to put like a really clear delineation. I think it kind of bobs and weaves over time. The interesting thing about Speaking in Tongues is that when they sat about to write the album,
Mhm.
uh, one of the things that they did was that they switched all the instruments around. So, like David Byrne playing drums, he's not a drummer, but yet they wanted like unique perspectives on the instruments to try to like bring something new musically to what's happening. So to me, that's kind of a sign of cohesion, collectivism sort of within the band to try to do something unique and different. However, the staging of Stop Making Sense of the lighting and the costumes and probably the slides and visuals that were in the background, I'm pretty sure that's all 100% David Byrne. And I don't, I haven't read anything that said, yeah, I was really kind of irked when David Byrne took over the entire stage design of Stop Making Sense.
Mhm.
I never saw anything like that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he sort of became such a figurehead and such a presence for the band after that. It sure seemed like there was a lot of times where it was David Byrne and these three other guys,
Yeah.
two other guys and a gal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Did you want to let our audience know where they can get a copy of said Blu-ray? Um,
Well, said Blu-ray is actually, thank you, is directly from the distributor of the film who brought it back out in 2023, and the company is A24. And if you go to their website, I think it's a24films.com. I think I gave you the information,
yes, you did.
Armando, on that,
Yes, you
if you
did.
want to put it in the description for the video.
I definitely will.
Um, that's where you can get it. This version, and again, I'll do it, slowly so that
Very
it
slowly.
comes up right, is available in only two versions. Blu-ray, which has like three different versions of the film on it and all the bonus features. And then there's a 4K version, which just amps everything up even more so. Now, I haven't seen the 4K version, but from what I've read from people, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, you want to look at the linen detail in David Byrne's big suit. Oh yeah, you can see that. And now, frankly, I could see that on the Blu-ray version too. So it's not, you know, denim patterns aren't exclusive to the 4K. But if you've got a 4K system, I would plunk it down and get that in 4K. If you've got the means to rock your house, by all means, rock your house.
And well, I would agree. And just to let everyone know, the price for the Blu-ray and the 4K is not cheap. Okay.
No,
If you join the website, a24films.com, you get a discount, I believe like 10%. It ranges in price without the discount of $53.99. So just to let everyone know, I have not yet purchased my copy because I'm on a budget right now. But I will be doing so within the next few weeks because I want to get my hands, my pudgy little fingers on a copy of this collection. Because to me, this is a fantastic film. Musically, they are tight. They are
oh,
in sync,
oh,
no pun intended. No boy band pun intended. They are they they are taking cues from one another like there is no tomorrow. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know
yeah,
exactly what they want to represent on stage and
yep.
give the audience. And the audience is eating it up like you would not believe. Like,
Well, here's an interesting bit of trivia about that.
mm,
And this is available that you can get it in the commentaries that's on here and whatnot. The first night that they filmed this at the Pantages, they had the lights up. They wanted to see the audience. They wanted to see the reaction. So that shot I talked about earlier from Psycho Killer, where it's like down from the corner of the stage and you see the entire audience
mhm.
because it's all lit up, that's probably from one of those nights. However, the downside of having the audience all lit up is that they kind of thought that they were being watched and therefore they were a lot more tight and they weren't exactly loose and able to kind of get into it, and it affected the musicians as well because they're like,
Okay.
oh, those first night was horrible. So
Okay.
they shut out the lights for the subsequent three nights, and that's where everything started firing on all cylinders.
You know what? They did the right thing.
Oh yeah,
They did the right thing. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who haven't seen it, if you can get your hands on it, please do. If you can get your hands on the soundtrack, please do. If you're
yep,
not going to get it, you're missing out.
yeah. I think that this version of Stop Making Sense, with the 16 songs as opposed to the 19, it's available on Netflix and Amazon and all your big streaming
Yes,
platforms.
yes, yes.
So, you know, if you've got one of those, you ain't got no excuse, man.
Well,
So,
unfortunately, it's available on Amazon Prime. It's listed on Amazon.ca as being available on Prime, but because of my location, I'm not able to watch it for some
oh,
reason.
foo. Hmm.
So I would have to get the Blu-ray version on a24films.com. You know what?
Yep.
I will eventually get it. But again, ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress this enough. This is not a mere concert experience, it's an experience overall. It's a visual
Yeah.
experience, it's a musical experience. It is an experience overall, and you really do need to take some time to sit down and watch it. It's not very long. It's 88 minutes long.
Yep.
You know
Gets
what?
to be about 100 plus if you've got the full 19 song version, but yeah.
Exactly. Um, but the version I saw was 88 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you waiting for? I mean, again, you will enjoy it. Never mind being new wave or being out of your wheelhouse. Just
Oh,
take the
it
time.
crosses so many boundaries. It's crazy. You can't
Exactly.
pigeonhole this to new wave or art rock or anything. It's
Yeah,
all over the place.
it's just music
Yep.
with a
Uh, a couple of closing comments, if I could.
sure, sure.
So the first goes back to something that I think you said at the top of the show, which is that this is one of the, like people consider this, probably the greatest concert film ever made.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't seen all concert films ever made, obviously, but I have seen The Last Waltz. I have seen Laurie Anderson's Home of the Brave. I've not seen Neil Young's Live Rust, which keeps coming up in conversation, but definitely, for my money, Stop Making Sense is superior to the Last Waltz and Home of the Brave, and I love those. I mean, I think they're fantastic. The more I watch um, the Last Waltz, the more I love it. Those songs are just so good.
Hmm.
Um, but so yeah, if you're a music fan, if you're a film fan, definitely no hesitation in recommending Stop Making Sense. The other thing that I'll say, Mr. Venditti, is that I cannot express the epic disappointment I have with you right now
Go on.
because we've gotten through this recording for I don't know how long we've been talking. With this subject matter, you have not once said ass shape.
Sorry,
I
I did not hear you. Uh,
you've not once said this is an ass shaker. I don't know what to do. It's like I don't even know who you are anymore. I
it does have its ass shaking moments.
maybe one or two.
It no, it has its ass shaking moments. Cross-eyed and painless is an ass shaker from start to finish. Burning down the house has its moments of being an ass shaker. Um, yeah, no, and I'm remiss in saying that. My apologies, Mr. Bricker. But
It's, I'll I
having
knew
said
I'd catch
that,
you one of these days. I knew I
having
would
said
catch
that,
you.
the one dud is Genius of Love. Um, it is not an ass shaker. It's more of a more like a flat tire, in my opinion. But I mean, that is just me. Um, but again, for those of you out there, please take the time to watch this film and get the soundtrack. You can get the deluxe version, the double CD Blu-ray audio for like $61 on Amazon.ca or Amazon.com. You can get it on Discogs, on eBay. There's no reason why you can't get it if you're into this kind of music. And if you want something again that's outside your wheelhouse, this is for you. All right. Now, I may not agree that it is one of the or the best concert film of all time. I will put it in my top three.
Okay. What are your other two?
My other two are, oh my God, my other two would be the reissued version of We Will Rock You, well, Queen Rock
Okay.
Montreal, amazing concert film. And oh my goodness, what other hmm, Prince Sign the Times.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that that's good.
Without the storyboard, in the storyline, it would be better. So I would put
Okay.
I will put Queen Rock Montreal at number one, Stop Making Sense at number two, and Sign of the Times at number three. And I do mean
Okay.
that wholeheartedly. This is a fantastic film, and it should be experienced in every way possible. CD, Blu-ray, 4K. You have nothing to lose, and everything.
If it gets to a theater, man, there's nothing like seeing this in a crowded theater with 300 other people and you're just rocking out and
There you go.
dancing.
There you
It
go.
was so fun.
And I was going to say this too. I remember seeing a performance of Eric Clapton when he performed in Toronto with John Lennon in 1969 uh,
Okay.
at a festival with the Plastic Ono Band. And you could just see, okay, he's playing rhythm guitar, he's doing lead, but you can see he's not really into it. Like he's just standing there strumming and doing the chords and he's just like, oh, do the change up. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay. This band, they're into it. Okay. The supporting musicians are into it. They're running around the stage, they're dancing, they're They're doing whatever they're doing. They are into this performance. They are energetic and they believe in this performance and what the band are doing 100%.
Full commitment.
Full commitment. No holds barred, no hangups. They're just doing whatever they're doing and they're supporting Talking Heads 100%, right?
Yep.
There are some artists, like I said, Eric Clapton, etc., that do phone it in. There's no phoning it in with this performance. It is 100% live. It is 100% authentic. It is real. And you can tell the difference. Okay. This is not
Yep.
Memorex. This is live. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us on this extended edition of Film Discussion of Stop Making Sense. Again, please, you can get the 40th anniversary edition of Stop Making Sense at a24films.com. You can also get the Stop Making Sense Deluxe Edition, 2 CD, 1 Blu-ray audio set on Amazon.com for around $61. Please check it out. And if you have checked it out, please put in the comments down below, what you think of this film. And also, even if you've seen them in concert during this performance, we'd like to hear from you, like to get your
Oh yeah.
feedback. You know what I
The
mean?
closest I got was seeing David Byrne on his Rie Momo tour in 1989 or 1990. And that was kind of the full Brazilian band with like a 5-piece horn section and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Having that band do Burning Down the House, full Latin 5-piece brass section.
I can
Holy
imagine.
smoke. Oh man. The closest I will get to having experienced the Stop Making Sense tour. But yeah, if you were there and could really tell us posers what it was like, tell us.
Please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get a dialogue going about this and any other topic that we will be doing and that we've done in the past. And again, I want to very quickly thank everyone who has watched the 31 Perfect Album series that we had completed for August. Again, we enjoyed doing it. We had fun, and
Yeah.
we enjoy your feedback for everything that we've done. So, signing off for Mr. Jim Bricker, I'm Armando Venditti. Please look after yourselves and one another. Click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. Jim and I are going to be doing more videos together, along with Ken Cheshire in the near future and Bill Schuster. Hope you're feeling better, Bill. And we'll see you soon with more videos. Bye for now.